I stood before my own front door, unable to believe my eyes. My 120-year-old Victorian mansion had been transformed into a soulless white box. My hands trembled as I gripped my walker still weak from 3 weeks in the hospital, staring at what used to be my beloved home. Let me know where you're watching from today. And if you're new here, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to join our growing community. My name is Constance Pemberton, and at 68 years old, I never imagined my own family would betray me so completely. For 45 years, I had lived in this historic San Francisco mansion, a home that had been in my late husband William's family for generations. Every corner held memories, every antique told a story, and every detail had been lovingly preserved, until my daughter-in-law decided it needed updating. The morning I had my stroke started like any other. I was tending to my rose garden, a passion I'd cultivated for decades, when suddenly the world tilted. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in a hospital bed with Dr. Harrison explaining that I'd suffered a mild stroke. "You're lucky, Mrs. Pemberton," he said. "With proper rest and rehabilitation, you should make a full recovery." My son Gregory rushed to the hospital appropriately concerned. His wife Vivian arrived later, her designer heels clicking against the hospital floor, her face a mask of practiced sympathy. "Oh, Constance," she said, air kissing near my cheek. "This is just terrible. But don't you worry about a thing. Gregory and I will take care of everything while you recover." I should have been suspicious then. Vivian, an ambitious interior designer, had never hidden her disdain for my outdated home. She called it a museum and constantly suggested modernizing it. I had always firmly refused. "The house has good bones," she would say, "but it needs to be brought into the 21st century. All that dark wood and heavy furniture, it's so depressing. It's called character, dear." I would reply, "Something that can't be bought at a furniture store." Our relationship had been strained from the beginning. Vivian came from new money and couldn't understand the value of heritage and tradition. She saw my antiques as old junk, my Persian rugs as dust collectors, and my carefully curated art collection as grandma stuff. Gregory, my only child, was caught in the middle. He loved me but was completely under his wife's spell. At 39, he still sought her approval for everything, from his clothing choices to his career decisions. During my hospital stay, they visited daily. Vivian always seemed distracted, constantly on her phone, while Gregory asked about my recovery. I was too focused on physical therapy and regaining my strength to pay much attention to her behavior. "Don't worry about the house, Mother," Gregory assured me. "Vivian's taking care of everything. The plants are watered, the mail is collected, and Maria is still coming to clean twice a week." What he didn't tell me was that Vivian was doing far more than basic maintenance. 3 weeks later, when Dr. Harrison finally cleared me to go home, Gregory picked me up from the hospital. As we drove through the familiar streets of Pacific Heights, I felt a mixture of relief and anticipation. I couldn't wait to sleep in my own bed, to sit in my grandfather's leather armchair, to be surrounded by my treasures again. But as we turned onto my street, something felt off. The house looked different from the outside. The lovely sage green trim had been painted stark white. The vintage brass hardware on the front door was gone, replaced with modern chrome. "Gregory," I said slowly, "what happened to the house?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Vivian wanted to surprise you. She's been working so hard on a special project." My heart began to race as he helped me up the front steps. When he opened the door, I literally gasped. Gone was the rich mahogany wainscoting that had graced the entrance hall for over a century. The walls were now stark white. The Persian runner that had cushioned footsteps for generations had been replaced with pale hardwood. The crystal chandelier, a wedding gift to William's grandparents, was gone, replaced by a modern geometric fixture that looked like it belonged in an office building. What have you done?" I whispered, gripping Gregory's arm for support. Vivian appeared from what used to be the parlor, her arms spread wide in a theatrical gesture. "Surprise welcome to your new and improved home." I walked through the rooms in a daze, each step revealing new horrors. The dining room's hand-painted wallpaper, imported from France in the 1900s, had been stripped and painted white. The mahogany dining table where 5 generations had gathered for holidays was gone, replaced by a glass and chrome monstrosity. The library was unrecognizable. The floor-to-ceiling bookshelves crafted by master woodworkers had been ripped out. The thousands of first editions and rare books were nowhere to be seen. Instead, there were floating shelves with a few designer coffee table books artfully arranged. "Where are my books?" I demanded, my voice shaking. "Oh, those dusty old things." Vivian waved dismissively. "I donated them to the library. They were taking up so much space, and really, who reads physical books anymore?" I felt my knees weaken. Among those dusty old things were signed first editions of Hemingway, Fitzgerald, and Steinbeck. There were books that had belonged to William's grandfather, with personal inscriptions from the authors. The monetary value was substantial, but the sentimental value was incalculable. The tour continued, each room more devastating than the last. My bedroom, once a sanctuary of comfort with its 4-poster bed and antique vanity, now looked like a hotel room. The bed was a low platform. The furniture was all white lacquer, and the beautiful oil paintings had been replaced with abstract prints. "Where is William's portrait?" I asked, referring to the painting of my late husband that had hung over the fireplace. "Oh, that gloomy old thing. It's in storage," Vivian said breezily. "I thought you'd prefer something more uplifting." I sank onto the edge of the unfamiliar bed, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what had been done. This wasn't just redecorating, it was erasure. Every trace of my life, my history, my memories had been stripped away. "Mother, please don't be upset," Gregory said, sitting beside me. "Vivian worked so hard on this. She wanted to give you a fresh start after your health scare." "A fresh start?" I looked at him incredulously. "By destroying everything I love?" Vivian's face hardened. "I did you a favor. Constance, this house was a mausoleum. Now it's a showpiece. You should be grateful. If you're still here, let me know where you're watching from today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support more content like this." The next few days were a nightmare. As I explored further, I discovered more violations. The china cabinet with my wedding china, gone. The silver service that had been a wedding gift, sold. The antique quilts made by William's grandmother, replaced with designer bedding. But the final straw came when I was looking for a photo album in what used to be William's study. In the trash bin, I found his photograph, the one from our honeymoon in Venice, his favorite picture of us together. It was crumpled and torn. Something broke inside me at that moment. This wasn't just about interior design or generational differences. This was about disrespect, about the deliberate destruction of my life's memories. I smoothed out the photograph with shaking hands and made a decision. I wouldn't accept this violation. I couldn't. That evening, I overheard Vivian on the phone in the kitchen. "Isabella, yes, it's done. The old Bats house is completely transformed. I'll be posting the before and after photos on Instagram tomorrow. This will show you who the better designer is. That house is my masterpiece. Isabella Montenegro." The name sent a jolt through me. She was Vivian's biggest rival in the interior design world, a woman of impeccable taste who specialized in historical preservation. The two women had been feuding for years, competing for the same high-end clients. And suddenly, I knew exactly what I needed to do. The next morning, while Vivian and Gregory were out, I made a phone call. "Montenegro Design." A pleasant voice answered. "This is Constance Pemberton. I'd like to speak with Isabella, please." There was a pause. "Mrs. Pemberton, of the Pemberton Victorian on Pacific Avenue." "The very same." Isabella came on the line immediately. "Mrs. Pemberton, what an honor. I've admired your home for years. It's one of the finest examples of Queen Anne architecture in the city." "Well, it was," I said bitterly. "I'm afraid it's been rather modernized recently." There was a sharp intake of breath. "No, don't tell me." My daughter-in-law took it upon herself to redecorate while I was in the hospital. I'm calling because I remember you once expressed interest in purchasing the property. Mrs. Pemberton, I would be honored to discuss this with you. When can we meet? We arranged to meet at my attorney's office the following day. Isabella was everything Vivian wasn't. Respectful, knowledgeable about historical architecture, and genuinely horrified by what had been done to my home. This is cultural vandalism, she said, looking through the photos I'd taken. Those moldings were irreplaceable. And the library. My God, the craftsmanship that went into those shelves. Can it be restored? I asked. With time and money, yes, I have contacts who specialize in historical restoration, but it would be a massive undertaking. I nodded. I have a proposition for you, Isabella. I will sell you the house for significantly below market value. On one condition. She leaned forward, intrigued. You must restore it to its original glory, every detail, every molding, every fixture. And you must document the entire process on social media, crediting the destruction to Vivian's renovation. Isabella's eyes gleamed. You want to destroy her reputation. I want justice, I corrected, and I want my home's dignity restored, even if I can't live there anymore. We shook hands on the deal, and my attorney began drawing up the papers. The sale price was generous, enough for me to purchase a beautiful penthouse downtown, but far less than the property was worth. It didn't matter. This wasn't about money. For the next 2 weeks, I played the role of the defeated old woman. I let Vivian think she had won, even complimenting some of her choices through gritted teeth. She preened and posted constantly on social media, showcasing her transformation of the outdated mansion. Meanwhile, I quietly packed my personal belongings, what little remained of them, and made arrangements for my new home. I also had my attorney investigate something that had been nagging at me. The investigation revealed that Vivian had used Gregory's credit cards to fund the renovation, running up nearly $200,000 in debt. She had also sold many of my antiques through a dealer pocketing the money herself. The books alone had fetched over $100,000 at auction. Armed with this information, I prepared for the final act. I invited Gregory and Vivian for dinner, telling them I had important news to share. They arrived expecting me to announce my retirement to a nursing home, something Vivian had been not so subtly suggesting. We sat in the dining room at the glass table. I despised eating takeout because my beautiful china was gone. I've made a decision about the house, I announced as we finished our meal. Vivian perked up. Oh, have you finally realized how much better it is now? Actually, I've decided to sell it. Gregory nearly choked on his wine. Sell it, mother, no, this is our family home. Was, I corrected, it was our family home. Now it's just a house, and as of this morning, it belongs to Isabella Montenegro. The silence was deafening. Vivian's face went from confused to horrified to furious in the span of seconds. You sold it to Isabella, she sputtered. My Isabella, my competitor. The very same. She made me an excellent offer, and she plans to restore it to its original condition. Apparently, there's quite a market for authentic Victorian homes. You can't do this, Vivian shrieked, jumping to her feet. I put months of work into this house. Work that you funded with my son's credit cards, I said calmly. Work that involved selling my belongings without permission. My attorney has all the documentation. Gregory looked at his wife, shocked. Is this true? And there's more? I continued. Isabella will be documenting the entire restoration process on social media. Every piece of damage will be cataloged. Every destroyed historical feature will be noted. Your masterpiece will be exposed for what it really is. Vandalism. Vivian's face was purple with rage. You vindictive old witch! You've ruined me! No, dear, I said, standing up. You ruined yourself the moment you decided to disrespect me and destroy my home. Actions have consequences. The fallout was swift and brutal. Isabella's social media campaign was devastating to Vivian's reputation. The design community was appalled by the destruction of historical elements. Several of Vivian's clients canceled their contracts. Gregory, finally seeing his wife's true nature, filed for divorce 3 months later. The credit card debt and the scandal of the stolen antiques were too much for him to ignore. "I'm so sorry, Mother," he said when he came to visit me in my new penthouse. "I should have protected you. I should have stopped her." "You're here now," I said, embracing him. "That's what matters. My new home is beautiful. Modern. Yes, but filled with the antiques I managed to save and new pieces I've carefully chosen. I can see the Bay Bridge from my terrace, and I've started a new rose garden in planters. Isabella has kept her promise. The restoration of the house is a massive project, documented in meticulous detail on social media. She's become something of a celebrity in the preservation community, while Vivian's career never recovered. Last month, Isabella invited me to see the progress. Walking through the partially restored rooms, I felt a mixture of sadness and satisfaction. The house would be beautiful again, even if it would never be my home. "We found something during the demolition," Isabella said, handing me a box. Inside were William's cufflinks, my mother's cameo brooch, and several other family treasures that had been hidden in the walls during the original construction, a common practice in Victorian times. "These belong with you," she said gently. I clutched the box to my chest, tears in my eyes. "Thank you for understanding what this house means." "It's not just a house," Isabella replied. "It's history, it's memory, it's legacy." Vivian never understood that. As I left that day, I realized I had found peace with my decision. The house would be preserved. My family's history would be honored, and I had taught an important lesson about respect and boundaries. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just living well. It's ensuring that history remembers the truth. And sometimes selling to your enemy's enemy is the sweetest victory of all. If you've faced disrespect from family members or struggled with boundary violations, share your story in the comments below. Remember, it's never too late to stand up for yourself and what you value. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories of triumph over family betrayal. The morning after the dinner where I announced the sale, I woke up to dozens of missed calls from Vivian. She had left increasingly frantic voicemails alternating between threats and pleas. "Constance, please, we need to talk about this. You can't do this to me. I'll sue. Think about what this will do to Gregory. I'll make your life miserable." I deleted each message without concern. My attorney had assured me that the sale was ironclad, and Vivian had no legal recourse. She had renovated a house she didn't own, using money that wasn't hers, and sold property that didn't belong to her. If anyone had grounds for a lawsuit, it was me. Gregory came by that afternoon looking haggard. "Mother, she's lost it. She's talking about suing you. Suing Isabella, even suing me. She says this is all a conspiracy to ruin her." I poured him a cup of tea. Proper tea in my rescued Wedgwood china. "Gregory, dear, your wife made her choices. She chose to violate my trust, destroy my property, and steal from me. These are the consequences." He sighed heavily. "I know, I can't believe she did all this. When I confronted her about the credit cards, she admitted everything. She said she was tired of living in my shadow, tired of being reminded that everything we had came from my family. She wanted to make her mark. And she did," I said dryly. "Just not the mark she intended." Over the next few weeks, the truth about Vivian's actions spread through San Francisco society like wildfire. Isabella's documentation of the restoration process was masterful. She highlighted every destroyed architectural feature, every piece of lost craftsmanship, with heartbreaking before and after comparisons. The design community rallied around the project. Architectural historians volunteered their expertise. Craftsmen offered their services at reduced rates. The restoration became a cause célèbre with regular updates, drawing thousands of followers. Vivian tried to fight back, posting her own version of events on social media. She claimed I was senile, that the house had been falling apart, that she had saved it from condemnation. But Isabella had wisely documented the house's condition before the renovation, including a recent historical society assessment that had praised its preservation. The more Vivian protested, the worse she looked. Her clients began canceling contracts citing differences in design philosophy. The high society matrons who had once hired her for their vacation homes quietly blacklisted her. Even the new money tech millionaires, who usually cared little for tradition, were put off by the scandal. 3 months after the sale, Gregory filed for divorce. The final straw came when he discovered Vivian had been having an affair with her contractor, the same one who had helped her destroy my home. Apparently, it had been going on for years. She never loved me, Gregory told me one evening as we shared dinner in my new home. She loved what I represented: old money, social connections, prestige. When she realized I wasn't going to inherit the house, immediately, she decided to take matters into her own hands. I reached across the table and squeezed his hand. I'm sorry you had to learn this way. I'm the one who should be sorry. I let her manipulate me, let her poison my relationship with you. I was so afraid of losing her that I lost sight of what really mattered. The divorce was messy, but quick. Vivian tried to claim she deserved half of Gregory's assets, but the evidence of her theft and infidelity worked against her. She walked away with relatively little, just enough to rent a small apartment and try to rebuild her career. Last I heard, she had moved to Los Angeles working as an assistant to another designer. Her social media accounts, once filled with glamorous posts about her projects, had gone silent. Meanwhile, the restoration of my former home continued. Isabella proved to be not just a talented designer, but a passionate historian. She researched every detail, tracking down original craftsmen or their descendants, sourcing period-appropriate materials, and even recovering some of the sold antiques through her network of dealers. 6 months into the project, she made an amazing discovery. Hidden behind a false wall in the attic, she found a trunk containing William's military uniforms, love letters we had exchanged during his deployment, and family photographs dating back to the 1800s. Vivian's contractors had missed it in their haste to modernize. "These belong with you," Isabella said when she brought the trunk to my penthouse. "This is your history." As I sorted through the contents, tears streaming down my face, I found a letter William had written but never sent. It was addressed to our future grandchildren, expressing his hopes for the family legacy and the house. "This house has weathered storms, earthquakes, and changing times," he had written. "May it continue to shelter our family for generations to come. May it always be a place of love, respect, and memory." I shared the letter with Isabella, who asked permission to frame it and display it in the restored house. "It belongs here," she said, "as a reminder of what this house really means." The restoration took nearly 2 years to complete. During that time, my relationship with Gregory healed and strengthened. Free from Vivian's influence, he became the son I remembered, thoughtful, kind, and appreciative of family history. He even met someone new, a lovely woman named Claire, who worked as a museum curator. She understood the value of preservation and had a deep respect for history. When I met her, she was fascinated by my stories about the house and our family legacy. "Your mother is remarkable," I overheard her telling Gregory. "The way she handled everything with such dignity and strength, it's inspiring." The grand reopening of the house was a major social event. Isabella had invited preservationists, historians, architecture buffs, and even some of the craftsmen whose ancestors had worked on the original construction. The house was featured in Architectural Digest, with a long article about the importance of preserving historical homes. Isabella had kept her promise beautifully. Every detail had been restored or recreated with painstaking accuracy. The library shelves had been rebuilt by a master craftsman using the same techniques as the originals. The hand-painted wallpaper had been recreated by artists using period-appropriate methods. Even the gardens had been restored to their Victorian glory. Walking through the rooms, I could almost feel William's presence. This was our home again, even if we no longer lived there. "You've given it back its soul," I told Isabella, hugging her tightly. "No," she replied. I just uncovered what was always there. The soul of a house like this can't be destroyed by paint and poor taste. It just gets hidden for a while. The restoration became a teaching case in design schools, an example of how not to treat historical properties. Isabella's career soared, and she became the go-to expert for historical preservation projects across the country. As for me, I found unexpected happiness in my new life. The penthouse with its views of the city and the bay became a gathering place for friends and family. I started hosting salons, bringing together artists, writers, and thinkers for evenings of conversation and culture. I also established the Pemberton Foundation for Historical Preservation, using part of the house sale proceeds to fund restoration projects for other endangered historical homes. The foundation's first project was helping elderly homeowners protect their properties from predatory developers and insensitive renovations. Gregory joined the foundation's board, bringing his business acumen to our mission. Claire contributed her museum expertise, helping us document and preserve not just buildings, but the stories they contained. One day, about 3 years after the sale, I received an unexpected letter. It was from Vivian. Dear Constance, I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to know how sorry I am. I've lost everything: my career, my marriage, my reputation. And I deserve it all. I was arrogant, disrespectful, and cruel. I thought I knew better than everyone else, and I destroyed something irreplaceable in my hubris. Seeing the restoration of the house, understanding now what I destroyed, has been my greatest punishment. I wake up every day knowing that I'm responsible for the loss of something beautiful and historic. I'm writing to tell you that I'm going back to school to study historical preservation. It's too late to undo what I did, but maybe I can prevent others from making the same mistakes. You were right about everything. Respect is earned, not demanded, and boundaries must be defended. With deepest regret. Vivian. I read the letter several times, feeling a mix of emotions. While I could never forget what she had done, I found I could forgive, not for her sake, but for my own peace of mind. I wrote back a brief note. The path to redemption begins with acknowledgement. I wish you well in your studies. Today, 5 years after that shocking homecoming, I look back on everything that happened with a sense of perspective. What seemed like a devastating betrayal became a catalyst for positive change. The house stands proud once again, a testament to the importance of preserving our architectural heritage. Isabella continues to maintain it perfectly, and it's become a must-see destination for architecture. Enthusiasts visiting San Francisco. Gregory and Claire are married now, expecting their first child. They understand the importance of family legacy and have asked if they might one day buy the house back from Isabella. She's agreed in principle, saying it would be fitting for a Pemberton to live there again. My penthouse is filled with life and laughter. The salvaged antiques blend beautifully with carefully chosen modern pieces, creating a space that honors the past while embracing the present. Last month, I gave a lecture at the design school where Vivian is now studying. She sat in the back row taking careful notes. After the lecture, she approached me hesitantly. "Thank you for coming," she said. "Your talk about the responsibility of designers to respect historical spaces was exactly what I needed to hear 3 years ago." I nodded. Better late than never. As I walked away, I realized that sometimes our greatest losses lead to our most important gains. I lost a house but gained a purpose. I lost a daughter-in-law but regained my son. I lost my comfortable routine but discovered new passions and strengths. The Victorian mansion on Pacific Avenue still stands as a monument to craftsmanship and history. But more than that, it stands as a reminder that true value isn't in what something costs, but in what it means. And that some things, family heritage, historical legacy, personal dignity, are worth fighting for. If you're dealing with family members who don't respect your boundaries or your property, remember this: you have the right to defend what matters to you. Age doesn't diminish your authority over your own life and possessions. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is say no, and mean it. Thank you for listening to my story. If you found it helpful or inspiring, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Share your own experiences in the comments below. You never know who might need to hear your story. Remember, it's never too late to stand up for yourself, to demand respect, and to protect what you value. Your home is more than just property. It's a repository of memories, a testament to your life's journey, and a legacy for future generations. Don't let anyone take that away from you.